right. Hopefully you can hear me. How is everyone on this Sunday evening? My name is Jessica. Welcome to Barefoot on the Homestead, where I make content on homesteading, homemaking, and recently we have been getting into our Bible study of Genesis. So thank you for being here, whether you are live with me now or if you are rewatching this. Today we're going to go into chapters 9 and 10. 9 and 10 have to do with God's covenant with Noah and nations descended from Noah. This is going to probably be a quick stream. It's not going to be for very long, okay? It's going to be a very short stream because what I'm going to do, I'm going to read the chapters and then I'm going to read the commentary. So yeah, but before we get into this, if you could please make sure you hit that subscribe button if you're not already subscribed, and please turn on bell notifications so that way when I make videos, upload or go live, you will get them. So I'm gonna wait a few seconds until I can get some people in. I might not, because I do know a lot of you are probably at the beach right now. It's 3:18 p.m. Eastern time, or just getting back from church, lunch, and things like that. So yeah, but I wanted to kind of do this a little bit early, get an early start with this. We actually just got home not too long ago from having lunch. We went to church today. We go to a Baptist church, and it was really a blessing to hear the pastor. We went over Timothy, 1 Timothy, and we were talking about deacons, which was a nice little study. So I'm going to go ahead and get into reading chapter 9, starting in verse 1. And God blessed Noah and his sons and said to them, "Be fruitful and multiply and fill the earth. The fear of you and the dread of you shall be upon every beast of the earth and upon every bird of the heavens, upon everything that creeps on the ground, all the fish of the sea. Into your hand they are delivered. Every moving thing that lives shall be food for you. As I give you the green plants, I give you everything. But you shall not eat flesh with its life, that is, its blood. And for your life blood I will require a reckoning. From every beast I will require it, and from man, from his fellow man, I will require a reckoning of the life of man. Whoever sheds the blood of man, by man shall his blood be shed. For God made man in his own image. And you be fruitful and multiply. Increase greatly on the earth and multiply in it." Then God said to Noah and to his sons with him, "Behold, I establish my covenant with you and your offspring after you, and with every living creature that is with you, the birds, the livestock, and every beast of the earth with you, as many as came out of the ark. It is for every beast of the earth I establish my covenant with you, that never again shall all flesh be cut off by the waters of the flood. Never again shall there be a flood to destroy the earth. God said, "This is the sign of the covenant that I make between me and you and every living creature that is with you for all future generations. I have set my bow in the cloud, and it shall be a sign of the covenant between me and the earth. When I bring clouds over the earth and the bow is seen in the clouds, I will remember my covenant that is between me and you and every living creature of all flesh. The waters shall never again become a flood to destroy all flesh. When the bow is in the clouds, I will see it and remember the everlasting covenant between God and every living creature of all flesh that is on the earth. God said to Noah, "This is the sign of the covenant that I have established between me and all flesh that is on the earth." So Noah's descendants. Verse 18. The sons of Noah who went forth from the ark were Shem, Ham, and Japheth. Ham was the father of Canaan. These three were the sons of Noah. From these people of the whole earth were dispersed. Noah began to be a man of the soil, and he planted a vineyard. He drank of the wine and became drunk and lay uncovered in his tent. And Ham, the father of Canaan, saw the nakedness of his father and told his two brothers outside. Then Shem and Japheth took a garment, laid it on both their shoulders, walked backward, and covered the nakedness of their father. Their faces were turned backward. They did not see their father's nakedness. When Noah awoke from his wine and knew what his younger son had done to him, he said, "Cursed be Canaan. A servant of servants shall he be to his brothers." He also said, "Blessed be the Lord, the God of Shem, and let Canaan be his servant. May God enlarge Japheth. Let him dwell in the tents of Shem. Let Canaan be his servant." After the flood, Noah lived 350 years. All the days of Noah were 950 years, and he died. Okay. So, this is the covenant between God and Noah. I want to reiterate in verse 12 says, the covenant that I make between me and you and every living creature that is with you for all future generations. This covenant does not go away. Now, of course, we will have floods sporadically throughout the world, but we will not have another great flood. So, going into my commentary, verse 1, we see God blessed Noah. God's blessing on Noah to be fruitful and have dominion constitutes the climatic act in God's renewal of creation, recalling God's announcement in verse 1:28. Verse 2, the fear of you. The reference to fear underscores a significant change from the pre-fall situation. Whereas before this point, it may be that people were vegetarians. They now are given permission to eat animals. In verse 3. Every moving thing, everything. The human diet is expanded to include meat, though the consumption of carrion in Leviticus 11:40, Deuteronomy 14:21, and blood is forbidden. Leviticus 17:10, verse 4. Significantly, no distinction is made between clean and unclean, a situation restored under the new covenant. 4. You shall not eat flesh with its life, that is, its blood. Blood and life are symbolically connected, a concept also basic to the sacrificial system and the atoning work of Christ. All life belongs to God. People must acknowledge this by not eating blood. See Leviticus 3:17, 7:27, 19:26. Verse 5, I will require, and it says require 3 times. This threefold usage of the same Hebrew verb underscores the principle that human life, which is in the image of God, is so valuable that God demands the life of a murderer as compensation for unlawful killing. Ultimately, the Lord is the vindicator of life. Murder brings guilt and pollution. That is expiated by the death of the murderer, or through atonement when the murderer is unknown. If these measures were not used, murder brought the Lord's judgment on the land. Verse 6, whoever sheds the blood of man, by man shall his blood be shed, for God made man in his image. God's endowment of humans with this judicial authority shows they bear responsibility for the actions of others, lays the foundation for government by the state. Image. Though distorted by sin, our image being made in God's image, we distorted that by sin. People are still unique because they are made in the image of God. This explains why human blood, in contrast to animal blood, must be compensated for when an image bearer is murdered. Verse 9, I establish my covenant. God confirms his promise to preserve the earth by a covenant that includes Noah, his descendants, and all creation. Verse 12, this is the sign of the covenant that I make between me and you. Biblical covenants are usually certified by visual symbols. These include circumcision for the Abrahamic covenant, the Sabbath for the Mosaic covenant, the Lord's Supper for the New Covenant. Often these signs were already in existence, for example, the Sabbath and circumcision, but were given new significance by their incorporation into a divine human covenant. Verse 21, we see drank the wine. He drank of the wine and became drunk. Scripture both looks favorably on wine and soberly warns of its dangers. There are some good things about wine that we can find in Numbers 15, verses 5 through 10, Deuteronomy 14, verse 26, Psalms 104, verse 15, and John 2, 1 through 11. But there's also dangers of wine. We see that in Proverbs 21:17, Proverbs 23, 20, 21, 29 to 35, and Isaiah 5:22 and 28:7. Verse 22, saw the nakedness of his father. Gazing at another's nakedness, either in lust or scorn, is morally wrong. Ham's scornful leering at the father whom he should revere is particularly bad. If it is wrong to publicize another's sin, how much more a father's? The story further condemns the failure to respect one's parents. Verse 25, Canaan, cursed be Canaan. A servant of servants shall be to his brothers. Since the curse and blessings on the three sons have their descendants in view, it is not strange that the curse is on his son, not on Ham himself, especially since God has already blessed Ham. As Ham, the youngest son of Noah, has wronged his father, so the curse will fall on Ham's youngest son, who shares his moral corruption. Ham's descendants include, in addition to the Canaanites, the names of Israel's most dreaded enemies: Egypt, Philistia, Assyria, and Babylon. Noah prophesies the coming conquering of Canaan's offspring by the offspring of Shem, for example, Israel and Japheth, the coastland peoples. Verse 26, blessed God of Shem. This doxological blessing acknowledges God as the author of life. The line of messianic promise is now narrowed to Shem's offspring. And it will be further narrowed in Genesis to the line of Abraham through Isaac, Jacob, and Judah. With the coming of the Messiah and the new covenant, covenant promise is extended to all who believe. So that was God's covenant with Noah. Now we're going into chapter 10, nations descended from Noah. And hopefully you can still hear me. These are the generations of the sons of Noah, Shem, Ham, and Japheth. Sons were born to them after the flood. The sons of Japheth, and I'm going to butcher these names, Gomer, Magog, Madai, Javan, Tubal, Meshech, and Tyrus. The son of Gomer, Ashkenaz, Rephath, and Togarmah. The sons of Javan, Elisha, Tarshish, Kittim, and Dodanim. From these the coastal peoples spread in their lands, each with his own language by their clans in their nations. The sons of Ham are Cush, Egypt, Put, and Canaan. The sons of Cush, Seba, Havilah, Sabta, Ramah, and Sabteka. The sons of Ramah, Sheba, and Dedan. Cush fathered Nimrod. He was the first on earth to be a mighty man. He was a mighty hunter before the Lord. Therefore it is said, like Nimrod, a mighty hunter before the Lord. The beginning of his covenant, or his kingdom, was Babel, Erech, Akkad, and Calneh, in the land of Shinar. From that land he went to Assyria and built Nineveh, Rehoboth-er, Calah, and Rezin, between Nineveh and Calah. That is the great city. Egypt fathered Ludem, Anamim, Lahabim, Naphtahum, Pathrasim, Casluhim, from whom the Philistines came, and Caphtorim. Canaan fathered Sidon, his firstborn, and Heth, the Jebusites, the Amorites, the Girgashites, the Hivites, the Arkites, and the Sinites, the Avardites, the Zemarites, and the Hamathites. Afterward the clans of the Canaanites dispersed. The territory of the Canaanites extended from Sidon in the direction of Gerar as far as Gaza, and in the direction of Sodom, Gomorrah, Admah, and Zeboim, as far as Lasha. These are the sons of Ham by their clans, their languages, their lands, and their nations. To Shem also, the father of all the children of Heber, the elder brother of Japheth, children were born. The sons of Shem, Elam, Asher, Arpachshad, Lud, and Aram. The sons of Aram, Uz, Hul, Gether, and Mash. Arpachshad fathered Shelah, and Shelah fathered Eber. To Eber were born two sons. The name of the one was Peleg, for in his days the earth was divided, and his brother's name was Joktan. Joktan fathered Almadad, Shelef, Hazarmaveth, Jerah, Hadoram, Uzal, Diklah, Obal, Abimael, Sheba, Ophir, Havilah, and Jobab. It's a lot of names. All these were the sons of Joktan. The territory in which they lived extended from Mesha in the direction of Sephar to the hill country of the east. These are the sons of Shem by their clans, their languages, their lands, and their nations. These are the clans of the sons of Noah according to their genealogies in their nations. From these the nations spread abroad on the earth after the flood. It's crazy to think that we all come from at least one of these people, if not probably multiple. So that was my butchering of their names. Okay, so in the commentary here it says, in chapter 10, verses 1 through 32, the threefold arrangement of the table of nations reflects the threefold division of humanity. 70 representing a large and complete number. Nations are given: 14 from Japheth, 30 from Ham, and 26 from Shem. The Japhethites migrated westward, the Hamites south by southwest, and the Semites south by southeast. Some names are personal, for example, Japheth, Nimrod. Others are place names, for example, Sidon, Sheba, or names of peoples, for example, Ludem, Caphtorim. Some belong to more than one family because of early marriages between various families and peoples. In verses 6 to 20, the Egyptians, Babylonians, and Canaanites, Israel's most bitter and influential neighbors, are mentioned in this list. And Cush is the area south of Egypt. Put is traditionally identified as Libya. Verse 7, the sons of Cush, these nations were probably all located in Arabia. Verses 8 to 12, this break in the genealogy is a prime importance of Israel's history. It explains the racial and spiritual origins of Assyria and Babylon, who later conquered them. Nimrod, his name means "we shall rebel." Later Jewish tradition identifies him as the builder of the Tower of Babel. This hunter and warrior is an archetype of Mesopotamian ideals of kingship. He was the first. This and similar phrases are used to mark important historical developments. Verse 10, the beginning of his kingdom, Nimrod, the prototypical city and kingdom builder, marks the beginning of man's post-flood quest for domination and independence from God. Verse 14, the Philistines, not one of the 70 nations, but mentioned parenthetically as another foe of Israel. The Philistines, one of the coastland peoples, came to Egypt by way of Crete before settling in Canaan. Some suggest that the connection here with Egypt is geographical rather than genealogical. Verse 16, we have the Jebusites. These were one of the Canaanite nations disposed by Israel. One of their cities was Jerusalem, which was finally conquered by David. The Amorites in the Old Testament uses the term loosely, sometimes referring to pagan inhabitants of Canaan in general, and sometimes to the people of the Canaanite hill country. Some of the most famous dynasties of Babylon, including that of Hammurabi, came from this Western Semitic group. That I'm actually going to mark off because we just did a study on Hammurabi in homeschool. Verses 21 to 31, the descendants of Shem are presented last. They overlap with the more specific lineage of Eber. Whereas the genealogies of chapter 10 list the different branches of Noah's descendants, the linear genealogy in chapter 11, verses 10 to 26, follows one unique line of descendants. This line eventually leads to Jesus Christ. And in the final verse that we have in the commentary, Father of all, verse 21, or the ancestor of all. The Hebrew term for father was used for more remote ancestors. Shem was Eber's great-great-grandfather. Eber is the word for Hebrew, perhaps comes from this name. He is the heir of God's blessing on Shem, just as Canaan, son of Ham, was the target of Noah's curse. All right, and there we have it. That was chapters 9 and 10. Lots of stuff that we learned in there. And I love how it really broke it down with these names, because it can get very confusing, like absolutely confusing. So, yeah, the next study that we do, it's going to be in chapter 11, the Tower of Babel. There is a lot of good stuff in that one to talk about and to go over. So yeah, I'm really excited for that study. But thank you for spending this time with me. Thank you if you are rewatching this after the stream is done. Appreciate you guys. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your Sunday, and I hope you have an even greater week. Thank you guys. I will see you in my next